Harris Dawson. I'm the chair of this committee. I'm joined by our very capable vice chair, Mr. Bob Blumenfeld of the idyllic San Fernando Valley, along with our colleague, also from the San Fernando Valley, Councilmember John Lee. We have a quorum in place, and we'll begin our meeting as we do most every meeting, and that is with people who have signed up for multiple items, of which I see none. And with that, we'll close general public comment and move into our agenda. We have two items, Mr. Mejia, number 10 and number 12, that there are requests to continue. Item number 10, the request is to November 26, 2019. And item number 12, the request is for November 12, 2019. So if there's no objection, that'll be the order on both of those. And then we have a handful of items, items 2 through 6, that there is a recommendation that we take those items on consent, but folks have signed up to speak on them. So we'll call on you. If you do not want to speak, you can just pass. But if you do, you're certainly entitled to that. So on item number 3, we have Mr. Brian Flynn. We have Daryl Fetty. All right. So that concludes public comment on those items. So a recommendation that we take items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on consent without objection. That'll be the order. That moves us to item number 7. If you could read that into the record, Mr. Mejia.
Yes, Councilman. Item 7 is a report from City Planning. It includes a resolution to adopt the platform agreement with Airbnb.
Thank you. We have a report and some additions from staff.
Good afternoon. Arthi Varma with the Department of City Planning. The item before you is a platform agreement between the City of Los Angeles and Airbnb. The draft agreement is consistent with the master platform agreement that was considered by this committee last week and adopted by the City Council on October 30th. Like the master platform agreement, individual platform agreements must be adopted by council resolution to become effective. Please note that the department transmitted a revised document incorporating some technical modifications to the Application Programming Implementation or API framework, Exhibit A, to the individual platform agreement. I'll hand it off to my colleague, City Attorney's Office, to describe the technical modifications.
Thank you, council members. This is Sam Petty with the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office. We have two quite literally technical changes to the API framework. We've added two tasks and corresponding deliverables, one of which is create rate limiting logic protection for City API and load testing City API. These were tasks that were formerly essentially integrated into and part of other tasks, but we had discussed spelling them out specifically, and that was not, that was added at this point.
Arthi Varma, City Planning. The revisions are in the council file, and there are copies here today.
All right. Any discussion on this item, members? Mr. Blumenfeld?
Difference between this and the master agreements?
No, this agreement is consistent with the master platform agreement.
Great. Well, this is great to see it finally happen.
Yes, good work. If there's no other discussion, I do not see any members of the public on the queue. So I'll move that we adopt this as amended by staff. If there's a second. Seconded by Mr. Blumenfeld. Hearing no objection, that'll be the order. Thank you all so much. Item 1, Mr. Mejia, will continue for 2 weeks. And that takes us to item number 16.
Yes. Item 16, Councilman, this is a report from the Planning Commission. It includes a general plan amendment, an vesting zone change, and a height district change, and an appeal that was filed by Unite Here 11 as to the land use entitlements, the vesting zone change, the site plan review, and the vesting, conditional use, the site plan review, and also conditions of approval.
Okay. It looks like we have a report from staff. Hi. My apologies,
Good
I do not
afternoon.
have either your name or your department, so you
Okay,
have to
sorry.
provide both of those for us.
Good afternoon, Plum Committee members. I'm Kevin Golden, City Planner and Project Manager for this case. And what is before you is an appeal of the City Planning Commission's decision, of course, on a vesting conditional use and site plan review and the companion CEQA case and the general plan amendment and zone change by the Planning Commission for approval. This project is a 100-room, 6-story hotel above 2 levels of subterranean parking. Now, on February 26, 2019, the Planning Committee considered the case, and the matter was continued in order for the CEQA analysis to be completed relative to the general plan amendment and add areas. The revised mitigated negative declaration, or M&D, found that no new impacts would be created and no new mitigation measures would be necessary. And that M&D was recirculated on September 12, 2019, and the comment period ended on October 15, 2019. Regarding the appeal, the main points of contention were air quality and noise impacts from construction, loss of commercial use, loss of affordable housing, and that the M&D does not adequately address the potential for development resulting from the general plan amendment add areas, which are adjacent to and north along Alvarado Street. Please allow me to touch on the main points of contention one by one. This will be brief. Air quality analysis impacts. The appeal critiques the M&D for only evaluating the potential impacts of the project on the closest sensitive receptor. The M&D states that the potential impacts to the closest receptor would be less than significant. Therefore, impacts to receptors further away would be less than significant. Also, the appeal critiques the M&D for failing to include a health risk assessment, HRA. The methodology for HRA is not relevant for this project because HRA procedures refer to measures and measuring and analyzing emissions of a project over a period of years if the project is an emission source emitting toxic air contaminants. Noise. With respect to noise, 3 mitigation measures have been included in the M&D that address construction noise, operational noise, and construction vibration. Measures include the requirement of state-of-the-art construction equipment, directional speakers and noise mufflers, and avoidance of heavy equipment near sensitive receptors. These are in addition to the regulatory mitigation measures contained in the Los Angeles Municipal Code. Thus, impacts would be less than significant with the mitigation measures. Housing and commercial use. The area is zoned for residential use. It constitutes 1/3 of the property, and the 50-foot wide lot is an R4 lot that is currently a parking lot. There will be no new units. There will be no units displaced as a result of the project. And although the project would remove the commercial uses currently on the site, the general vicinity includes a range of neighborhood service and commercial uses within walking distance. Height. With respect to height, the C2-2 zone allows a 6-to-1 FAR. This height district change with a delimitation would only allow 2.99-to-1 FAR, roughly half of that, but twice of what the C2-1 would allow. However, being that the project site is located within a node of activity, there would be no significant impact. Now, the add area analysis. With respect to the add area analysis, the appellant makes reference to the add area analysis contending that the general plan amendment would increase density throughout. As stated in the M&D, the proposed amendment to the Westlake Community Plan land use map would change the land use designation of other parcels in addition to the project site, making them consistent with the land use designation of the properties located directly adjacent to the east along 7th Street and to the north along Alvarado Street. This would facilitate a rezoning of other parcels and would allow for additional density since the community commercial land use designation allows height district 2. However, there's no There are no projects currently proposed for those parcels. Any future rezoning actions and development applications would be subject to additional environmental review on a case-by-case basis. As such, the M&D has stated that the proposed amendment will result in no significant impact. So for these reasons, staff recommends that Plum Committee adopt the conditions and revised findings as the conditions and findings of the full City Council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, we have a number of public comment speakers on this matter. I'll call you up. You have a minute each to speak on this item. Jose Felix Cabrera, Claudia Medina, Olivia Surya, Rosita Lopez. Mirna Perez, Margarita Lopez, Jamie Hall.
Hi, I'm Claudia Medina. We would need a Spanish translator, so if people can...
We'll bring up a translator
Okay,
when,
so I'll
when we
just go.
need
So
that.
I'm Claudia Medina. I'm a housing attorney. I've worked in the MacArthur Park area, and my concern is that this project does not comply with Measure JJJ, that it's leading to indirect displacement and gentrification, that it's zone partly resident. It's part of it is zone residential, and we ask that we ask for a project that's beneficial to the community. I wish our council member for this area actually thought about an anti-displacement zone, because that's really concerning to the residents in this area. I applaud Council Member Harris Dawson for paying more attention to the needs of his constituents, and I'm just voicing my opposition to the project. It does not benefit the community, and it's going to lead to gentrification and indirect displacement.
Thank you so much. We have translation.
I can't translate, Councilman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mejia. Mr. Mejia will translate.
Okay, muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Olivia Suri.
Good afternoon.
Mi preocupación es acerca de los proyectos que están haciendo ahí en la comunidad de Western MacArthur Park.
I'm concerned about the projects in the Western MacArthur Park area.
Nuestra comunidad es de bajos ingresos y no hay viviendas para nosotros.
Our community is low income, and there is a lack of affordable housing.
No es justo porque yo al menos tengo 20 años de vivir en esa zona y al desplazarme yo voy a perder a mis amigos, voy a perder la transportación, la clínica donde uno va.
It is not fair for these changes to happen. I've lived in the community 20 years. I cannot be displaced. I will lose friends, my social networks, as well as my physician.
Yo les pido de favor de que tengan pongan su mano en su corazón y hagan proyectos buenos para la comunidad, viviendas de bajos ingresos para las personas.
I ask that you place your hand in your heart and bring projects into the community that are affordable and for a low-income community.
Solamente eso, gracias.
That is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Rosita López y
Good
también
afternoon. My name is Rosita Lopez.
resido en el área de MacArthur Park. Ahí tengo las tiendas donde voy, una oficina que ahorita estamos trabajando para apoyar a los inquilinos del área porque las rentas están muy caras. Ahorita mismo a mí me acaban de mover al juez y yo he estado viviendo por cerca de 40 años en el área de MacArthur Park.
Un momento, señora, un momento. I live in the MacArthur Park area. There's amenities in the neighborhood stores, a place that I go for advice. The rents are high, and I have lived in the community for 40 years now.
¿Y cómo es posible que nuestro concejal esté apoyando a proyectos para gente rica que viene a ese lugar a desplazarlos a las minorías?
How is it possible that our elected official is in support of projects that are for the rich and in turn displace low-income residents?
Que están construyendo edificios para gentes que ganan más de $87,000 por año.
They are building projects that benefit those that earn more than $87,000 a year.
Cuando nuestra comunidad latina solo está ganando 10,000 por año, 20,000 es lo más que se gana.
When many of our community residents are low income and earn no more than $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
Por lo cual no podemos pagar ese dinero.
As such, we cannot
Mucho
pay
dinero.
the high cost of the housing that is being proposed.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
For the record, we've been joined by the distinguished gentleman from the 1st Council District, Mr. Gil Cedillo. Welcome.
Chair, just a point of order. I represent the appellant. Am I going to be giving a separate time to speak?
Yes,
All right, I'm going to sit back down and wait to be called.
thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Mirna Pérez. Que Dios los bendiga
Good
a
afternoon.
todos.
My name is Vilma Perez.
Yo vengo con la preocupación de que los proyectos que están haciendo no nos benefician en absolutamente nada a las clases de bajos recursos.
I am concerned about the projects that are coming to the neighborhood because they don't benefit those of us that are low income.
Sin embargo, necesitamos que nos ayuden, que nos apoyen, porque no es que no estemos capacitados, sino es que no nos dejan, porque como los ricos quieren primero salir adelante, no es que no podamos, sí podemos, nosotros tenemos todo o más de ustedes. Sin embargo, no nos dejan superarnos, no nos dejan desarrollarnos porque no hay proyectos para nosotros.
We need projects that benefit those of us that are low income, and then we need civic support from you all.
Por lo tanto, quisiera pedirle a todos ustedes que por favor se pongan la mano en la conciencia y que nos ayuden. Nosotros, yo tengo mi hijo que es dotado, sin embargo, si yo me muevo de donde yo estoy, lo voy a perjudicar grandemente porque él está en su escuela, está haciendo muy bien en sus clases, y si yo lo muevo, porque me están desalojando del edificio donde estoy, yo estoy en el 712 Sur Westlake, y nos están desalojando, nos están sacando por el proyecto nuevo que están haciendo. Sin embargo,
Un momento, señor. They are telling us to leave where we live right now. She lives at 712 Westlake. She says, please, we need your support, and she cannot move in as much as it would impact her son, who's in a gifted program in the local neighborhood school.
mi niño todos los días está preocupado porque dice, nos van a mover, vamos a pagar más, ya no tenemos dónde vivir. Entonces eso me preocupa grandemente.
It's creating a lot of strain in the family. The son is very concerned, and that they cannot afford to pay higher rent if they have to move.
Por favor, les pido que nos ayuden, que hagan proyectos para nosotros, para nuestros beneficios, no solo para ustedes. No es que no dejemos desarrollarnos, nos debemos desarrollar, sin embargo, no nos dejan.
Please, again, support projects that help those of us that are low income so that they can benefit us in the neighborhood.
Thank you so much.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Margarita López y yo trabajo en el área de Westlake MacArthur Park.
My name is Margarita Lopez. I work in the Westlake neighborhood.
Y estamos muy preocupados por los proyectos que se están construyendo. En este caso se pretende hacer un hotel.
We're concerned about the projects that are being proposed. My understanding is now that a hotel is being anticipated.
En la 9 y en la Alvarado, perdón, en la Jeswood y Alvarado. Y este tipo de construcciones nos perjudica, va a perjudicar a los comerciantes, a los pequeños comerciantes. ¿Dónde vamos a ir a comprar?
This project will have impacts on small business owners, and as such, where will we shop?
Como ustedes han escuchado, esta área es un área de muy bajos recursos y lo que queremos son construcciones de viviendas asequibles y proyectos que ayuden a nuestra comunidad.
This is a low-income neighborhood. As such, we need projects that help those that are low income.
Y les pedimos que por favor tengan conciencia y no solamente estén apoyando este tipo de proyectos de lujo, sino que también apoyen a la comunidad de bajos recursos.
Please not only just support luxury projects, but also those that benefit those of us that are low income.
Nuestro concejal Cedillo, yo no sé por qué está apoyando ahora este tipo de proyectos cuando él se debe a nuestra comunidad.
We don't understand why the local elected official is in support of these projects when he has benefited from our support in the past.
Esperemos que nos llevemos una buena respuesta de parte de ustedes.
We hope for a positive response from you all.
All right, we got Maria Mijangos, Yelena Zeltzer.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es María Mijangos.
You're going to translate for her? Yeah.
Good afternoon, my name is Maria Mijangos.
Yo he vivido cerca del área por 19 años donde están el proyecto, el JJ, y yo estoy preocupada por el aumento de las rentas y desplazamiento de mi comunidad.
So she's lived in the area around the project for the past 19 years, and she's really worried about the displacement in the community and the rise in rents.
Y como ya dijeron mis compañeros que pasaron, el concejal Cedillo, le pedimos de favor que nos apoye en proyectos para nosotros los de bajos recursos, no para los ricos. Necesitamos viviendas accesibles.
And like the folks before her, she's asking the council member to help folks in the community, and we need more affordable housing.
Gracias.
Thank you. All right, that concludes, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Yelena Zeltzer. I'm here on behalf of Unite Here Local 11. We represent thousands of workers who work in downtown and hundreds who live around the project. We're here today because we believe that this project upzones the hotel site and the ad area with greater FAR without providing any affordable housing commitments now or in the future. This directly conflicts with Measure JJJ and undermines the TOC guidelines. Additionally, the revised MND fails to disclose, analyze, or mitigate the potential impacts of the GPA's increased development capacity of as much as 4 times the existing level. The ad area GPA constitutes a major policy shift that will guide future growth and development in excess of what's otherwise permitted. This could have a potential physical impact on the environment, particularly for traffic and greenhouse gas impacts. We believe the project violates Measure JJJ, the Municipal Code, and CEQA. We respectfully request that Plum ensure that the hotel development satisfy the affordable housing requirements under JJJ and remove the GPA.
Thank you so much. All right, so we will hear now from the appellant for 4 minutes and 59 seconds or less. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Hall. I'm a land use and environmental attorney with Channel Law Group. I'm here today representing Appellant Unite Here Local 11. I'd first like to start off by acknowledging the city for adding mitigation measures for the project designed to reduce the significant noise impacts. These mitigation measures were the direct results of the appeal that was filed by appellant and the expert report that was prepared by Del LaForest, an associate with the Institute of Noise Control Engineering. This is exactly how the process is supposed to work. Appeals are authorized in the municipal code in order to isolate errors and correct those errors. So we just want to say thank you for adding those noise mitigation measures. Unfortunately, the project is still burdened with a defective environmental clearance document, in this case, a mitigated negative declaration. The project proposes to add an ad area that will change the designation of adjacent properties and provide for much higher density. The FAR authorized will go from 1.5 to 1 to 6 to 1. Yet the M&D does not analyze the environmental consequences that flow from that increased density. Chief among those environmental impacts that are reasonably foreseeable relate to traffic. The project would increase the volume to capacity traffic by 12.25 times if just even conservatively, the density was analyzed in the ad area. Appellant commissioned an expert report from a civil and traffic engineer who concluded that if the city had analyzed the impacts associated with this increased density, that 6 of the 7 intersections analyzed in M&D would exceed the significance thresholds already set by the city. The city has done environmental analyses in these types of circumstances in the past. We noted in our letter 4 other circumstances where the city calculated increased density and then assessed the environmental consequences that flow from that increased density, even when that project area was not under the control of the applicant, and even when there were not projects that were currently in the pipeline. In this case, we know there are already projects in the pipeline in that ad area. So it is certainly reasonably foreseeable. Appellant requests that the ad area be removed from the project and the application be referred back to the City Planning Commission. This is a fatal error to the M&D, and we're urging you to correct that error, remove the ad area, and refer this back to the City Planning Commission. Finally, the project doesn't comply with Measure JJJ. This project is subject to Measure JJJ, and that's the threshold question before you. And the reason why Measure JJJ is applicable is that more than 10 residential units are proposed, and the project requires a general plan amendment. Both the city and the applicant have admitted in the staff report and also in the applicant's latest letter that this is a, quote, hybrid residential project. That's their language. There is nothing that would prevent persons from staying in these extended stay hotels more than 30 days. And we know, especially in the current housing status, that there are people who live in extended stay hotels. In fact, they are designed for long-term use. They include kitchens and bathing facilities. The city is foregoing the creation of affordable housing by refusing to apply Measure JJJ in this circumstance. The statute is relatively new. This is an opportunity for you to set a policy that these types of projects are also subject to Measure JJJ. This is certainly something that you have the authority to do, and you will be foregoing much needed affordable housing by giving the applicant a pass and not requiring them to meet their obligations under the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from the applicant?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Eric Lieberman. I represent the Chen family from Infinitely Group. Well, first, I just want to state that this project site does not displace existing units. This is a hotel project, and it is an extended stay format, which my understanding is a 28-day stay maximum. I'd like to just say that, the Chen family have been dedicated hotel operators in the community for over 30 years. They've proven themselves to be an asset to this community. They'd wish to expand their operation, continue to contribute in this manner. So while this project does not displace housing, it does create jobs. It creates 20 to 30 permanent jobs. The Chens are known for hiring local, and I think that this project would be an asset to the community and contribute to the economic viability of the area. So I would urge you to approve the project. However, I'd like to go on record to state that the applicant would be amenable to the removal of the ad areas, and we can take that up with the commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Cedillo.
Senor, are you ready? Sir, slanderous statements aside, our office, neither the applicant asked for the ad area. This was not our proposal. And so I want to direct the Department of City Planning to remove the ad area from the proposed general plan amendment to only include the project site. Now, the changes were made because we wanted to avoid peril and the possibilities that we would have a circumstance like the project, the target project in Hollywood, which was deemed spot zoning and blocked, and retail services were denied that community. But as I said, this was not a proposal or request from our office, and so we are happy to remove it. We want to return the item to the Planning Commission and the mayor for their recommendations on the proposed changes. We want to prepare and present to Plum the revised resolution, conditions of approval, and any other necessary documents to effectuate a general plan amendment to the Westlake Community Plan from the highway-oriented commercial to the community commercial land use designation and a zone and height district change from C2-1 and R4-1 to CD2-2D at 2005 West James Wood Boulevard. We note that we do not, that this is not a JJJ applicable project, and with that, acknowledging no displacement of units, that is our directive.
Thank you so much. So we have a motion from Mr. Cedillo. Yes.
Harry Kaufman, Mesilla City Attorney's Office. So per charter and the municipal code, consistent with the council member's motion, whenever you make any change to a general plan amendment, that change goes back to the City Planning Commission and the mayor for consideration of just that change. And then the entire matter comes back before you. So you've got other legislative items, a zone change, height district change, the general plan amendment itself with the ad area taken out, assuming that's what City Planning Commission recommends. And so my recommendation is to have the matter held in Plum, have the applicant agree to a continuance on the non-legislative items, and then once the mayor and the Planning Commission act, the whole thing will come back before the committee and you can act on all of it again, including the appeal.
All right. All right. So Mr. Cedillo is making such a request. So then the motion would be to continue this item for 30 days. It's been seconded.
It's not 30 days though. It's there are time frames set forth in the code. So I would not set a time frame. I would just have it continue, and then it'll have to be renoticed, but that way the commission and the mayor can act within the time frames set forth in the code.
All right, Mr. Cedillo? All right, Mr. Cedillo, I understand him to be making such a request that this item be continued. It's been seconded by Mr. Blumenfeld without objection. That'll be the order. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That takes us, Mr. Mejia, to item number 8.
Councilman, item 8 is a city planning department and commission report that involves a density bonus for a mixed-use project located in CD3 with 59 residential dwelling units. The commission approved it except for the waiver as to development standards for a landscape buffer. This action is also here via a 245 motion to assert jurisdiction by Councilman Blumenfeld.
Okay, Mr. Blumenfeld, I think there was staff, but
yep.
You want to go first?
I don't think we necessarily need them, but unless there are questions. But
even better.
Let me just let you know, I mean, this is a 245, and I take our ability to assert jurisdictions over cases very seriously. And though I respect the planning department's decision-making and convictions, I do not agree with how they recommended approval or denial on this case. I'm also aware that our City Planning Commission was inclined to do what I'm going to ask us to do today. The project before us is a small mixed-use project that underwent vigorous review by our community and the neighborhood council. We had agreement between the developer and the neighborhood council. It was approved by the neighborhood council as it is appearing before us today. Some in the community were not excited by the project, but They would be very upset by the CPC approved it lacking the details that they thought were very important. It has to deal with the parking. Only one aspect is in question, and that aspect has to do with the reduction in a landscape buffer. So the denial of the waiver would put this project in peril. And so I want to make sure that we have clear findings, that the denial of this waiver would put this project in peril, and the affordable units that are part of it would also be in peril. The commercial component of this project is helping subsidize those affordable units, and flexibility is key in this market. The commercial component will be rendered infeasible by reducing the parking options, requiring a costly reconfiguration of the driveway, a loss of guest parking, and push more impacts onto the community. The access to this building and the driveway configuration was an utmost concern to DOT and the community. The design that was agreed upon would need to be completely reworked unless we had this waiver. The only way to make up for this loss is to reconfigure the building or push it further north. Both would require costly redesigns, potentially more entitlements, and the project, and potentially pushing parking further below grade at a very substantial cost. This would render the project infeasible, risking needed and unfortunately rare affordable units for the West Valley. And as I've said before, we need the affordable units in the West Valley. It should be noted that the landscaping in this buffer will still be planted the same way with the exact same coverage regardless of its size. So I'm asking my colleagues to support me in supporting both of these waivers and approve the density bonus as a whole, specifically making a motion moving that we adopt the CEQA Class 32 exemption. We approve the density bonus for a mixed-use project at 19336 through 19360 Ventura Boulevard and all on-menu incentives. We approve both waivers of development standards, one for transitional height and the other for a 5-foot landscape buffer, and that we adopt the modified findings. So with that, I would ask that that's the action that we take.
Excellent. So Mr. Blumenfeld's put forward a motion. I'll second the motion. We don't have any public comment speakers on the queue for this item. So if there's no discussion from members, seeing none, this item is before us. Seeing no objection, that'll be the order. All right. Thank you so much. So at the beginning of the meeting, Mr. Mejia, we said we were continuing items 10 and 12. It's actually items 10 and 13.
Yes, Councilman. So
instead of item 12, it will be item 13.
I think it was inclusive of 10, 12, and 13.
10, 12, and 13?
Yes.
We're going to hear 12.
Okay.
We're continuing 10 and 13.
Very good, Councilman.
Thank you.
We'll hear 12.
All right. That takes us presently to item number 9.
Councilman, item number 9 is a motion Correct Cedillo is instructing city planning to report back along with the city attorney on an analysis of the impact of recently enacted legislation, SB 330, which would put a moratorium on downzoning parcels in the city.
All right. Thank you. There are no public comment speakers on this item. I'll ask if Department of City Planning has anything to say in this regard. Seeing body language to the negative, this item is before us. And I'll recommend that we adopt without objection. Takes us to item number 11.
Councilman, item 11 is a report from the Cultural Heritage Commission relative to the inclusion of the Sakai, Kasawa residence, Tokyo Florist pole as a historic cultural monument.
Got it.
Good afternoon. Ken Bernstein with Department of City Planning and Office of Historic Resources. What is before you is the Historic Cultural Monument nomination for a 2-story single-family residence and a private garden in Silver Lake. The single-family home was originally constructed around 1911 and was relocated to the property in 1929. It was the longtime residence of the Sakai Kasawa family who operated their family business, the Tokyo Florist, from 1960 to 2006 at the property. The Cultural Heritage Commission recommendation is that the nomination met 2 of the Historic Cultural Monument criteria. First, for its significant contributions to the cultural, economic, and social history of its community, as the longtime location of Tokyo Florist, strongly identified with the commercial identity of Silver Lake and the history of Japanese Americans in Los Angeles, and second, for its architecture as an excellent example of the craftsman architectural style with Tudor Revival influences.
Thank you so much. We have 3 public comment speakers on this item. Catherine Gudis, Christine Kantner, and Rosalind Segara.
Hi, my name is Kathy Gudis. I'm a professor of U.S. history, a resident of Silver Lake since 1985, and was a customer of the Tokyo Florist. I work closely with the Little Tokyo Historical Society and LA Conservancy on the nomination of this property. This property enables us to remember that Japanese Americans were instrumental to the development of the city and were especially a part of its economic past and agricultural roots. Women created and ran this family business in order to survive economically. Moreover, to date, there's not one historic cultural monument hinged to Japanese American contributions to the city, nor the flower industry is integral to the Silver Lake Los Feliz past, much less an ethnic female-run business like this. The property additionally marks little-known aspects of Silver Lake's pre- and post-war development, where on Hyperion were other Asian American small businesses, and in the hills behind and in the flats to the south, Japanese Americans moved back in after wartime incarceration. Despite having their civil rights stripped, assets frozen, and returned to Manzanar pockmarked with racial xenophobia, the Sakai Kasawa family resumed their livelihood in Silver Lake. We need to remember the challenges and achievements of doing so.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Christine Kantner, and I'm here representing the Silver Lake Heritage Trust. Our mission statement is to preserve and protect the architectural, historical, and cultural resources of the Silver Lake Echo Park and Elysian Valley communities. We support the designation of the Sakai Kasawa residence Tokyo Florist as a historic cultural monument. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosalind Segara, and I'm with the Los Angeles Conservancy. The Conservancy has worked very closely with the Little Tokyo Historical Society and local historians on the nomination before you. The home and grounds of the subject property are significant for their association with the Sakai Kasawa family and their longtime floral business, Tokyo Florist, which operated at this location from 1960 to 2006. Among the last remaining material and contextual markers of flower farms and flower shops and stands that used to dot the Silver Lake and Los Feliz and Atwater neighborhoods, this property narrates an important history of Japanese immigrants and Japanese Americans in Los Angeles that have rare representation. So we ask that you please support the Cultural Heritage Commission's nomination and recommendation for the HCM nomination. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Representing Council District 4, we have Ms. Emma Howard.
Good afternoon, council members. Emma Howard, Director of Planning, Councilmember David Rue, Council District 4. During the nomination process, our office heard so many stories from the community about this site, about residents who remember as children walking to pick up flowers for their mothers and grandmothers, about the owners, Yuki Sakai and her daughter Sumi and son-in-law Frank, about their family's endurance as a woman-owned business in horticultural use that persisted through the specific challenges of Japanese internment and the broader economic and land use changes that have reshaped Silver Lake in the last 100 years. As noted in Rafu Shimpo, designation of the historic cultural monument would make it only the 9th out of the more than 1,100 historic cultural monuments to reflect the rich history and contributions of the local Japanese American community, which established their roots in Los Angeles beginning in the latter half of the 19th century. Equity in designation leads to a better acknowledgement of Los Angeles' long multicultural past and helps us better understand our future. We know that one of the current debates about how we should designate cultural monuments relates specifically to how we preserve commercial sites, while also recognizing future change. Designation of this entire site will mean that through the changes to come, we can discuss with appropriate decision-making when to preserve the whole, document or memorialize each element of the mature plantings, landscape design, and the existing structures. The council member wants to specifically acknowledge that this has been a group effort, and acknowledge the leadership of the Los Angeles Conservancy, the Little Tokyo Historical Society, the Silver Lake Heritage Trust, the Office of Historic Resources, and the many community members who shared their memories with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion, members? All right, seeing none, I'm going to move that we concur.
Council members, I just wanted to make one note of technical correction. There is one word missing in the name of the proposed monument, and our office suggests that the monument reflect the name Sakai Kasawa Residence / Tokyo Florist and pole sign. So add the word "and" to the monument
All right.
name.
I appreciate it. That's what we have in front of us. Thank you. All right. So it's the recommendation that we concur with CHC on this matter. Seeing no objection, that'll be the order. Takes us to item number 12.
Councilman, item 12 is a report from the Harbor Area Planning Commission. It includes an appeal by Mercedes McLean as it relates to the environmental clearance of categorical exemption and approval of the vesting tract map for 39 small lot subdivision homes in CD 15.
All right, we have a report from Department of City Planning staff.
My name is
Mr.
Kyle.
Cedillo is raising his hand. No worries. I'm messing with you. Yes.
My name is Kyle Winston, planning staff with the Department of City Planning. The case before you is an appeal of a Class 32 categorical exemption.
I'm sorry. Could you get directly into the mic so we can get you? Thank you.
My name is
45
Kyle
degree angle.
Winston,
Yeah.
planning staff with the Department of City Planning. The case before you is an appeal of a Class 32 categorical exemption for a subdivision of 3 lots totaling 92,158 square feet into 41 lots, of which 39 will be for the construction, use, and maintenance of 39 small lot single-family dwellings in the R3-1 zone. The advisory agency approved the project on July 19, 2019. On July 29, 2019, the appellant filed an appeal. The Harbor Area Planning Commission heard the first level appeal on September 3, 2019, to which the appellant was not in attendance. Staff confirmed that a copy of the hearing notice was sent to the appellant on August 23, 2019 via an affidavit of mailing by a City of LA employee. At the Harbor Area Planning Commission meeting, the commission denied the appeal, sustained the advisory agency's determination to approve vesting tentative tract map number VTT-82249-SL, and adopted the advisory agency's conditions of approval and findings. A second level appeal was filed by the appellant on September 20, 2019, reiterating the previous appeal points and claiming improper notification of the Harbor APC hearing. Staff recommends denying the second level appeal and sustaining the Harbor Area Planning Commission's decision.
Thank you. All right. Anything else from other staff? All right. Thank you all for being there, nonetheless. We'll hear now from the appellant or their representatives for 5 minutes or less.
My name is Mercedes McLean, and I did want to confirm that I did not receive anything from the office, and I did not receive the certificate of mailing that was mentioned by Mr. Winston. I was unaware that that was happening, but I was prepared and did file an appeal before the appeal date for this meeting here. The proposed project does not meet the requirements for a CEQA exemption and does not comply with Measure JJ. An EIR should be required before proceeding. There is a lot of information in the record that shows that there was remediation done on this site, but nothing has been reported by the applicant as to removing this contaminated soil from the area, but this information was provided by the residents and by Google Maps that showed that there were tarps, and a lot of information is also before you in the appellate record regarding this remediation that was not reported. The community plan is recently being reviewed, but currently the project does not meet the community plan as it is written. So amendments would need to be made for this project to move forward, but as it stands, the community plan does not allow for the density that will be in, that this project will create. Additionally, there are a number of projects in the area. 4 were listed, but a very large Pacific Bougainvillea project is also being planned, and that is going to add another amount of significant density. If density is to be considered in this project, it should be projected density and not just the density that they are saying that is going to be with just this project, because there are so many more in the works. Additionally, as the record shows, there are issues about air quality, there are issues about traffic. The project itself is right at the cutoff, so if one more house would have been reported on this, a traffic impact survey would have been required by the city. But the applicant, or I'm sorry, the developer did state at a neighborhood council that this was his choice to do it right at this amount. So traffic is going to be significantly impacted in this location. And also the way that the project is being developed, it's going to be a barrier, a wall, where the residents from one side of the community will not be able to access. Currently, they're using this property, and they have been for over 15 to 20 years as parking, as a thoroughfare, and there's no indication, there's no gates, there's no fencing, and the residents have already used this property in this manner for a significant length of time. Additionally, the applicant has not done what he said as far as providing proper parking on the area for the residents, and that was part of the agreement that he had. The minimum parking is the only thing that's part of this project. The cumulative impact of all of the projects that are associated should make sure that the CEQA exemption, this project does not meet the CEQA exemption, and that's really all I have. I hope that the council, I apologize, I'm so nervous, but I hope that the council will take...
You're doing
great. No, I'm not. I hope that the council will take into consideration all of the documentation that I already provided, all of the documentation that the community members that I'm trying to speak for already provided and placed before you, and all of the issues that they have already experienced and will continue to experience because of the density that is now being put into their community. I understand that the city of Los Angeles has to find locations for this additional housing, but it shouldn't all go into areas that already are suffering from high density. This area has already been identified by our community plan update and the review that they're having as overly dense. So they're going to have to go in there and figure out what the real density is. But in addition, they're adding all of these extra projects. And it doesn't meet the requirements that are already in place for this area. The resources are not there, and it just doesn't seem fair that these low-income, working-class neighborhoods are the ones that have to accommodate the additional growth that the city of Los Angeles is seeking. So if you are going to do that, at least do it in a way that's fair, where the people are not exposed to hazardous chemicals because the developer is not making sure that there's an EIR, or because the traffic impact report is not being done. And so when this is already developed, these people will have no way to access the only green space in the area. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have a representative for the applicant.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Jay Aluwalia. I am representing Storm Properties, the applicant on the project. I just want to thank everybody here for taking the time to review this appeal. This is a private property. It has been a blighted site for a long time. There's dumping over there all the time. There's crime issues over there all the time. That is why we have the support of a number of the neighborhoods. We have the support of LAPD, Senior Lead Officer Bravo from that area, as well as Councilperson's office. What we are planning to build is existing zoning, so we are not requesting any zone change at all on the site. We are going to provide, right now people drive over this property, which is illegal to do and unsafe to do. We are going to provide access by extending Denker Street, which is one of the streets, so it provides a formal way for people to drive from one side of Plaza Del Amo to the other side, as well as pedestrian traffic, which can be controlled in a safe and clean manner. As far as environmental is concerned, we went through LA County's fire department and have no further action required for residential. So the site has been cleaned up per the code existing requirements. Lastly, the parking is being provided per the code. The city has reviewed all the submittals, and the parking as well as all the densities are per the existing code. If there are any other questions, I would be happy to answer. Otherwise, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. There are no public comment speakers on the queue. Is there any discussion members on this item? All right, we have a representative from Council District 15.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Axel Palacios, and I'm Council Member Joe Buscaino's Planning Deputy. I'm here today to lend our office's support for the project proposed. The proposed development at Plaza del Amo will positively impact the Harbor Gateway South community in a myriad of ways. The project will enhance the aesthetic of the neighborhood by making use of a space that is currently blighted. This was a long-time owned Union Pacific site that was used as a dumping ground and a magnet for crime in that region for several years, with many members of the community constantly having issues with their own safety and the cleanliness of their neighborhood. The project will improve traffic circulation in the neighborhood by creating connectivity between Plaza del Amo North and South through the construction of a connecting street through Denker Avenue. Right now, most residents, as stated before, drive completely over the median, illegally and unsafely. It will also improve currently unimproved right-of-way by establishing connectivity from Plaza del Amo South onto 227th Street. So this is currently an unimproved street that the developer will be paving for use by the community members. And finally, this project creates 39 new homes, which adds much-needed housing stock to this community. The project will have a positive impact on the community and its residents, and it is for this reason and many others that our office is in full support of this project. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. You've heard the indication of support from Council District 15. Any discussion on this matter, members? Seeing and hearing none, the recommendation is that we deny the appeal filed by Ms. McLean and sustain the Commission's determination to approve a categorical exemption and a vesting tentative trackback for the proposed project located at 1600 West Plaza del Amo, subject to conditions of approval. It's been moved, seconded by Mr. Blumenfeld. Hearing no objection, that'll be the order. Takes us to item number 14.
Item 14, Councilman, this is a Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment, Skia, for a proposed mixed-use project in CD 14, Councilman.
Good afternoon, Jason McCrae with the Department of City Planning. Before you is the Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment, or Skia, for the 4th and Hill project, located at 340 South Hill Street, directly above the Pershing Square Metro Station in the Central City Community Plan area. The project includes the construction of a 32-story mixed-use building containing 428 residential units and 5,610 square feet of commercial space. In exchange for a 35% floor area increase via the Greater Downtown Housing Incentive Area Ordinance, the applicant will be setting aside 5% of the total units proposed, or 22 units, which will be reserved for very low-income households, and 10% of the total units proposed, or 43 units, which will be reserved for low-income households. The project requires the following entitlements: a site plan review for a project resulting in greater than 50 residential units, and a director's decision for reduction in the quantity of required usable open space. Pursuant to PRC Section 21155.2, a Skia was published on September 26, 2019, with a 30-day comment period from September 26, 2019 to October 28, 2019. A total of 3 comment letters were received for the Skia by the Los Angeles Department of Sanitation, or LASAN, California Department of Toxic Substance Control, or DTSC, and Californians for Homeownership. The comments submitted by LASAN and DTSC included no specifics about the project, but included recommendations of information to be included for a sufficient analysis. The information has either already been compiled with and or included as part of the existing technical studies. However, the concerns raised have been responded to in detail in Attachment A to the letter to Plum dated October 31st, 2019. The third letter expressed support for the project and contained no environmental issues. A hearing officer hearing was held for the project October 15, 2019. No issues related to the Skia were raised at the hearing. Therefore, staff recommends that upon review of the entire administrative record, the Plum Committee find that the proposed project complies with the requirements of CEQA for use of a Skia as authorized pursuant to PRC Section 21155.2b, and further recommends for council action to adopt the Fourth and Hill Project's Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment, Skia, case number ENV 2015-982 Skia, and adopt the following findings: that the project qualifies as a transit priority project pursuant to PRC Public Resource Code Section 21155. The project incorporates all feasible mitigation measures, performance standards, or criteria set forth in the prior environmental impact reports as amended herein, including the RTP SCS Program Environmental Impact Report. All potentially significant or significant effects required to be identified and analyzed pursuant to CEQA an initial study have been identified and analyzed. And with respect to each significant effect on the environment required to be identified in the initial study, changes or alterations have been required in or incorporated into the project that avoids or mitigates the significant effects to a level of insignificance. This concludes staff presentation. Staff's available for any questions.
Thank you so much. We have a representative of the applicant. If you could slide to the side just a little bit so I can see the clock. Perfect, thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Jim Reese. I'm with the land use consulting firm Craig Lawson & Company, and I'm here representing the applicant in their desire to redevelop this site with a mixed-use project built right on top of a transit line, a fixed-rail transit line in the center of downtown where we have jobs. This project is also a high-rise that includes a mixed income as well as mixed use. So this is really a fantastic project. Because of our location near transit, we were able to use the Skia, or the Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment, as staff outlined. It's a very detailed document. We had no significant comments put on the project. The entire team is here to answer any questions you might have about it, and I'd urge you at this point to please approve our Skia.
Thank you so much. We have a number of public comment items on this matter. I'll ask you to line up and be prepared to speak for 1 minute as I call your name. And just keep in mind we have 2 members who have to drive to the deep recesses of the San Fernando Valley. So let's be mindful about keeping quorum. All right, Miguel Melgoza, Daniel Morales, Shamari Davis, Doug Summers, Omar Galindo.
Good afternoon. My name is Shamari Davis. I'm a business rep with IBW Local 11, Electricians Union, and we are expressly here to support this project. We're very excited that this project will help us help local workforce build this multidimensional project, and it will combine residential space and commercial space. We're very happy that it will allow our hardworking men and women of Los Angeles County to earn middle-class wages and benefits while working on this project. This is one of the good ones, and we urge you to please strongly approve this Skia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Miguel Melgoza, and I support this project. This project will add over 400 homes that our city desperately needs, including affordable housing. The project also includes commercial spaces for our local businesses to grow and help our local economy. Any good project benefits our city with housing and good paying jobs. I strongly support this project, and I hope that we can move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Piedmont Brown, Gus Torres, Gus Toe, Clara Carger. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Omar Galindo, representing Plumbers Local 78, in full support of this project. We are excited about this project not only because it will provide good paying careers, hire local residents, and use responsible contractors, but the applicant has also reached out to the community to ensure that the project is beneficial to downtown Los Angeles. We are proud to support this project and strongly urge you to approve the Skia. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Doug Summers with UA Local 709, Sprinkler Fitters, Los Angeles. We strongly support this project. The developers made strong commitments with the skilled crafts, skilled labor unions to provide a safe working environment, good area standard wages, medical benefits and pensions, and to help support our apprenticeship programs.
Thank you.
We strongly, we urge you to support this project. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gus Torres. I'm here on behalf of UA Local 250 pipe fitters, welders, and apprentices, and we'd like to express our support for this project. The applicant on this project has committed to local hire and paying fair wages for the workers who will build this project, including guaranteeing a safe working environment for our workers and to use responsible contractors. Please help support middle-class jobs and benefits by approving the SCEA project. Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
your time, and God bless.
Good afternoon. I'm Clara Carger with Central City Association. We represent over 400 businesses and nonprofits in LA, and we're strong advocates for more investment in housing and amenities for downtown's residents, workers, and visitors. We're very supportive of the proposed 4th and Hill development, which will activate downtown by including on-site mixed-income housing, sustainable features to encourage greener, healthier lifestyles, and direct access to the Metro rail system. The project's unique location, directly above a major transit stop, will improve visitor experience by increasing amenities near landmarks such as Grand Central Market and the Grand Avenue Arts Corridor. This development delivers an energetic link in the fabric of downtown while creating new jobs and delivering nearly $3 million in revenue to the city of LA. 4th and Hill complements ongoing public and private investment in this area by increasing housing supply, amenities, and access to public transit. We encourage you to support this exciting development.
Thank you. Nick Griffin, Christine Rangel.
Good afternoon. My name is Piedmont Brown. I'm president of the Ironworkers of Los Angeles, and on behalf of traffic, we support this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Afternoon, Nick Griffin, Executive Director of the Downtown Center Bid. This is exactly the type of project we want to see more of downtown. It utilizes a surface parking lot in the center of the city directly on top of public transit station. It adds hundreds of much-needed units of housing, a significant portion of which are affordable. It activates a key intersection, helping connect the central business district with the historic core and bringing hundreds of residents and customers to the surrounding community and businesses. The development team has done extensive and collaborative outreach in the shaping of this project, and we consider this to be a win-win for DTLA, and we strongly support it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Christine Rangel from the Building Industry Association. Building Industry Association is a 90-year-old organization, our mission of which is to be the voice of building and development in Los Angeles and Ventura counties, as well as a job creator, economic engine, industry resource, and supporter of housing for all. We are here today to support this project. It is exactly the kind of project that we need. It's walkable, it's housing where transit is, it's going to be job-centric. We love the fact that there's affordable units, and we ask you to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That exhausts our public comment speakers on this item. I don't know if staff wants to comment on anything that you heard. It didn't seem to be of particular controversy. And I'll ask if there's any discussion amongst members. Seeing and hearing none, I'll move that we approve the Skia, the appendices, the mitigation monitoring program, mitigation measures, and CEQA findings that the project qualifies as a transit priority project and that all environmental land use criteria has been met per Public Resources Code, Section 2115.2B. All right, it's been moved. Seconded by Mr. Blumenfield. Hearing no objection, that'll be the order. Thank you all so much. That moves us to item number 15.
Item 15, Councilman, this is a Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment for a project in CD11. It's a 98-unit residential unit project.
All right, we have a report from staff on this matter. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Juliet O, planning staff for item 15. The item is a Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment, or Skia, for the Thatcher Yard project located at 3233 Thatcher Avenue within the Venice Community Plan area. The project consists of the development of a 98-unit affordable housing project comprised of senior and family dwelling units on a city-owned lot. 50% of the units will be supportive housing. The project provides 10 very low-income units and 87 affordable units restricted based on regulatory agreements with local, state, and federal funding sources. The project is seeking a coastal development permit, density bonus, affordable housing incentive, and waivers, a conditional use, site plan review, waiver of improvements, project permit, and Mellow Act compliance review under case number CPC 2018-5593 to be considered by the City Planning Commission. The item before you is consideration of a Skia pursuant to Public Resource Code Section 21155.2. The Skia was made available for public review from September 26, 2019 to October 28, 2019. Several comment letters were received and responses provided in a response to comments dated October 31st, 2019. The majority of comments stated concern with an oil well located on the project site and potential impacts during development of the site. An errata dated October 31st, 2019 was prepared to further clarify the name of the oil well or core hole as core hole Marathon Oil Well Number 1, API number 037056112, and to outline the existing local processes and state regulations or regulatory compliance measure the project will be subject to assess and re-abandon the well if located on site. In addition to the regulatory compliance measure, the project will be subject to mitigation measures further outlined in the mitigation monitoring plan. Planning staff recommends adoption of the Skia and the errata dated October 31st, 2019, and mitigation monitoring plan. Staff is available if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. If there's no discussion among members, we have 3 members on the queue for public comment on item number 15. Elisa Pastor, Jason Douglas, Dana Sales. For 1 minute each. If you could do me a big favor and move that chair. Perfect, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elisa Pastor. I'm legal counsel for Tom Safran and Associates and Thatcher Yard, the project applicant. Please approve the Sustainable Communities exemption in the errata that is before you today. This project, which will bring 98 units of affordable and permanent supportive housing on approximately 2 acres of surplus city land, is a public-private partnership between the city and Tom Safran. The developer was the successful bidder of the RFP process in December of 2016, and the exclusive negotiating agreement was executed in March of 2017. A future DDA will provide for a long-term ground lease with the city for use and maintenance of the property. Since 2017, our team has been collaborating with the community and the city to develop the plan for this project. The Neighborhood Council supported this project 16-1, and the proposal is for 98 units, 68 of which will be reserved for seniors and 30 that will accommodate families. We respectfully request approval of the Skia and the errata. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Going once, going twice. All right, we'll close. You're coming up? Let's do it.
Jason Douglas, City 11. The applicant and development team have conducted incredible outreach on the project. They've been responsive to community needs, sensitive to community context through the massing and design of the project. And they have won support of the neighborhood council and community organizations in the area. We appreciate the applicant's thoughtful planning to activate this site from a vacant service yard to provide affordable and supportive housing, provide neighborhood amenities, and supporting access to transit and active transportation options. The council member supports this project and asks that you approve the Skia and errata.
Thank you. All right, any discussion among members? Hearing none, I'll move that we approve the Skia upon the recommendation of the planning department. It's been moved. Is there a second?
And also the errata, Councilman. Dated,
One more time?
Also the errata dated October 31st, 2019.
All right, could you, for the record, read the proposal into the record?
And also the mitigation measure, the mitigation monitoring program, and the CEQA findings, Councilman.
All right, so moved, seconded by Mr. Blumenfield. Hearing no objection, that'll be the order. And a clarification, Mr. Mejia, item number 13, we will continue to November 26, 2019.
And also item 10, Councilman.
And also item number 10 will continue to
Yes.
November 26, 2019.
Thank you.
Excellent. Can you confirm that that concludes our business for today?
That concludes our business, Councilman.
Excellent. We're adjourned. Thank you all so much.